The clock was striking midnight when I ventured into the eerily quiet streets of Valeview, a camera slung over my shoulder. The city, usually vibrant, was subdued, as if holding its breath. I'd heard the tales whispered in the corners of cafes and written in the margins of old books in the library. The Shadow Census, a phenomenon occurring once every century, where shadows seek to count themselves. Tonight was that night, a once-in-a-lifetime event, and curiosity, stronger than reason, drew me out. I wanted to capture it, to be the first to document what was said to be a legend. As an aspiring photographer, this could be my breakthrough, a chance to create something truly original. I set up my tripod in the central square, where the light and shadows interplayed most dramatically. The city's clock tower loomed overhead, its face illuminated by the moon, casting a long shadow that felt almost sentient. As the last chime echoed, a palpable shift occurred. Shadows began to stir, moving independently of their sources. I could feel the air thrum with anticipation, or perhaps it was my heart, racing with excitement and a touch of fear. With bated breath, I watched through my lens as shadows detached from their anchors, swirling in a silent dance. They congregated in the square, merging and separating in a spectacle that defied explanation. My camera clicked and whirred, capturing the impossible. Amidst the chaos, I noticed one shadow lingering, hesitant. It pulsed with an ethereal light, unlike the others. Drawn inexplicably to it, I approached, lowering my camera. As I neared, the shadow seemed to acknowledge my presence, shifting towards me. A chill ran down my spine, not from fear, but from a profound sense of connection. This shadow, I realized, was mine. The chill that ran down my spine wasn't born of cold, but of realization. The shadow that lingered before me, pulsing with an ethereal light, was undeniably mine, yet it stood apart, a sentient echo of my essence. This connection, invisible yet palpable, tethered me to it, or perhaps it to me. The camera in my hand, usually a barrier between myself and the world, now served as a bridge, a tool to explore this unprecedented communion. Reluctantly, I raised my camera once more, not to capture, but to understand. Through the lens, the scene before me took on a new dimension. The shadows moved with purpose, their dance a language I was on the cusp of deciphering. Each click of the shutter was a question asked, each image captured a piece of the answer. As the night deepened, the shadows began their procession, leading me through the sleeping city. My shadow, a guide in this surreal journey, pulsed gently, urging me forward. We moved past familiar streets now transformed, the mundane made magical under the cloak of night. The procession led to the river that bisected the city, its waters reflecting the moon's glow. Here, the shadows gathered, their forms ebbing and flowing like the tide. It was a congregation of centuries, a meeting point between the past and the present. My camera, almost forgotten in my hand, came alive, documenting this confluence of time. Our destination revealed itself as we emerged onto the banks of the river that coursed through Valeview like a vein of life. Here, the shadows gathered at the water's edge, their movements more deliberate, congregating in a silent assembly that was both eerie and mesmerizing. The river, a mirror to the heavens above, reflected the dance, blurring the line between the ethereal and the real. In this liminal space, the shadows began their ritual. My own shadow melded with the others, creating patterns of intricate complexity on the ground, a living tapestry of darkness that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. I captured every moment, every formation with my camera, the clicks punctuating the stillness of the dawn. As the first light of dawn painted the sky with strokes of pink and gold, a profound stillness enveloped us. The ritual, its purpose fulfilled, began to unwind. One by one, the shadows disentangled themselves from the collective, each retreating back to its origin. The connection that had tethered me to my shadow reeled it back in, a feeling of completeness washing over me as it slid into place at my feet. The square, once the epicenter of this inexplicable event, lay silent and deserted as I returned, the only evidence of the night's occurrences locked away in the digital memory of my camera. The city of Valeview stirred awake, oblivious to the spectacle that had unfolded in its heart. As I made my way home, the first rays of the sun warming my back, I was awash with a cascade of emotions. The photographs I had taken were not merely images. They were proof of the unseen, a testament to the Shadow Census and its silent witnesses. I knew then that my purpose extended beyond mere documentation. I had been given a rare gift: to share this story, to bridge the gap between the seen and the unseen, and to remind others that we are all part of a greater, more mysterious world. Preparing for the exhibition, I selected the photographs with care, each one a chapter in the story of the night when shadows walked. The gallery space became a sanctuary, the images displayed on its walls, invitations to ponder the invisible threads that connect us to each other and to the mysteries that dance just beyond the reach of our understanding. The opening night arrived, and as people gathered, I watched their reactions, saw the wonder in their eyes, and knew that the Shadow Census had woven its magic once more. This was more than an exhibition. It was a revelation, a shared experience that transcended the boundaries of belief and skepticism. As the gallery emptied and the echoes of the final footsteps faded away, I lingered, basking in the silence, surrounded by the still images of that singular night. The photographs, now immortalized on the gallery walls, whispered the secrets of the Shadow Census, their voices silent yet palpable. I felt a deep satisfaction, a sense of completion, knowing that I had brought the unseen into the light, sharing its mystery with the world. But as I turned off the gallery lights, preparing to leave, a final glance at the photographs brought a chill that seeped into my bones. In the dim light, the shadows within the photos seemed to stir, shifting ever so slightly, as if they were not mere imprints of the past, but living entities captured in time. My breath caught in my throat as I realized the shadows were not just recounting their tale through these images. They were marking their presence, claiming a piece of reality within each frame. I hurried to the door, the weight of 1,000 unseen eyes upon me, and as I stepped out into the night, a palpable sense of being followed whispered down my spine. Glancing back, the gallery windows reflected not the deserted street behind me, but the congregation of shadows, their forms pressing against the glass, a silent audience not yet ready to be left behind. The night air felt heavier as I made my way home, the familiar streets now cloaked in an unnerving quiet. The sensation of being followed persisted, a constant presence just beyond the reach of my senses. I told myself it was just the adrenaline, the aftermath of the exhibition's success mingling with the night's eerie embrace. But as I arrived at my doorstep, the unsettling truth dawned on me. My shadow, which should have been stretching out before me under the porch light, was nowhere to be seen. In its place was a darkness that seemed too deep, too consuming to be merely the absence of light. A cold dread settled in my heart as I realized that the Shadow Census was not yet done with me. The phenomenon I had documented, the ancient ritual I had believed to be over, had woven itself into the fabric of my reality, claiming a piece of me in return for the stories I had told. I stepped inside, the door closing with a finality that echoed through the empty house. The darkness felt alive, a whispering companion that followed my every move. I understood then that by capturing the shadows, by freezing their essence in time, I had crossed a threshold from which there was no return. The shadows had counted themselves, and in doing so, they had counted me among them.